Hi, my name is Lyle Maxson, and I'm the co-founder of Entheo Digital. We are a digital therapeutics company focused specifically on treating mental health outcomes by creating video games to target different indications. So this is a very, very new field, and I'm happy to kind of cover a little bit of the basics. So in 2020, during the summer of 2020, during the pandemic, the FDA essentially said that we're also having a mental health pandemic and opened up clearance for digital therapeutics or video games to be basically cleared through the FDA much quicker. This happened initially with Adam Ghazali, who's the founder of Akili, and they actually had the first ever FDA-approved video game for ADHD. And that basically opened up the floodgates. And my background is in VR and publishing video games, specifically creating games for good is what we call them. So not only creating, but also finding conscious developers that are creating positive mind-body effect experiences. So we were creating something in-house called Sound Self that really fit the mold of this new digital therapeutics revolution. And we decided to create an entirely new spin-off company to focus on that. So what Sound Self is it's a biofeedback experience utilizing the voice. You're essentially toning into either light therapy glasses or into a VR headset. And this tone can look anything like humming, chanting, singing, or any sort of prolonged tone, simply an om, and you're doing this over and over and over again. And what that does is creates visuals, audio, and vibrational feedback that drop you very deep into a meditative state, essentially putting your body into a trance. And we've actually coined the experience the first ever technodelic, because it does do things very similar to a full dose of psilocybin, which is shut off the default mode network, activate alpha and theta, as well as a very rare brainwave to see inside of a wellness technology, which is gamma brainwaves, usually associated with flow state or a high dose of psychedelics. So what this experience is doing and how we're looking at it for psychedelic therapy in particular is using it as a priming tool. So this would be used before a patient goes into a therapeutic session. Essentially, this allows them to drop into their body and ideally create more consistent outcomes for the therapist, because you're meeting people at a baseline that you're able to create through a technology before going into a therapeutic process. We're also seeing it being very effective for integration. Essentially, what this tool is doing is reactivating similar brainwave states as the participant was feeling during their psychedelic space and their session. And so what that is doing is basically reactivating epiphanies, memories, and different experiences that they may have lost as a part of the integration process without this tool. So we're seeing patients use it a day after, an hour after the session, or even like weeks or months after, and coming right off the experience and going right to journaling, having all these experiences come up for them again that they didn't remember at all. So we are looking at also pursuing FDA regulatory bid and doing a lot of clinical trials. It is a very exciting space. Coming into it from an entertainment background, I definitely have a very unique lens, as I'm not science oriented, even though we are doing a lot of hiring for scientists and researchers currently. I personally believe that what we're creating is not able to really benefit clinicians and patients in the psychedelic space, but overall in the mental health field in general. I think transitioning a little bit outside of psychedelics, we see this as being a really great tool for remote therapy and the variety of even like ketamine delivery services and things where patients aren't actually going in to see a clinician. And then from there, we're looking at of the variety of countries and religions that don't really allow psychedelics. This could be a really powerful altered state experience for people that don't have access to psychedelics, aren't able to do them. They're on SSRIs, active duty, first responders. There's just a variety of people that we see can target different altered states or create different altered states that don't usually have access to them. There's a lot to talk about. I would say my last statement is that I personally believe that the psychedelic industry will explode over the next few years, but in the next 10 years, I believe digital therapeutics will easily leapfrog the psychedelic space as a form of healing modalities and tools for all sorts of mental health outcomes. I appreciate your guys' time, and I look forward to diving in further.